Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to talk about all things books and make the journey to authorship just a little bit easier. My name is Larissa Sohan, and I am the CEO of Next Page Publishing, a hybrid publishing house where we help entrepreneurs write books to grow their businesses. In 2021, I published my first sci-fi novel, The Defender, through a hybrid publishing company. And from that experience, I learned exactly what not to do. When I joined with this very big publishing company, I was put in a system that was designed to push out thousands of books a year, and I was just a cog in the wheel. And it was heartbreaking when my first book was published and it was a flop. In that moment, I made it my mission to found a hybrid publishing company that was going to give aspiring authors the experience that they deserve. Now I'm on a mission to help aspiring authors feel like they are in control of the publishing journey and that they are supported by a team of experts who genuinely want the best for them and their books. If you are in the very beginning of your journey, or maybe you have a manuscript that you're finished and you're not sure how to get it out into the world, I encourage you to reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net. You can schedule your free discovery call and find out how our team of experts can make your journey to being a published author easy, smooth, and successful. Now, without further ado, let's get on to our next amazing guest and make your journey to authorship a little less complicated. I'm really excited to have this guest on because she's actually a recurring guest. I consider her a very good friend. We have been a part of the publishing world together for well over a year now. We published Get Published together, the most recent collaboration book that I was a part of that has been a huge booster for my business and my brand. And I just have so much to be grateful for when it comes to my relationship with Bridget. Now, she is going to talk about phase 3 and 4, which is marketing and publishing. We're going to be talking a bit about both, but mostly in the marketing phase. So if you are approaching marketing, if you are interested in marketing, specifically about media marketing, this is going to be a great episode for you. Bridget is the Visibility on Purpose host, creator, along with her co-host, Lydia Bargoza. I hope I said that right. My apologies if I didn't. Visibility on Purpose is a media training school founded in 2022 by Bridget and Lydia. Bridget, a former publisher, and Lydia, a publicist. Now, their programs help CEOs and business owners grow their audience, expand their reach, and land top-tier media without having to hire a publicist. Their students have been featured on media giants like Time Magazine, Yahoo, Fortune, Mind Body Green, Bustle, like just top podcasts, top media outlets. And individually, Lydia is responsible for over 4,000 pieces of press and is well known for her career supporting world-renowned musicians and lifestyle brands. And beyond her role as a publisher, Bridget is a speaker and has been nationally and internationally speaking to over 3,000 people. She speaks on topics ranging from sales and visibility and human optimization, the yogic philosophy, and the athlete mentality. Now, together, Lydia and Bridget are on a mission to revolutionize access to the media industry by evaluating boutique brands and founders. And I cannot say enough compliments to Bridget specifically and the mindset she brings to media training and how she goes about it. I'm absolutely thrilled to have her here. So welcome, Bridget. Let's get into it. Bridget, I'm so excited to have you here. You and I have been chatting for 33 minutes now already offline because we have so much to talk about in the way of our businesses and collaborations and growth together. You are a media expert. I'm just going to say it as it is. Every time I talk to you, you give me something amazing. Following you on your pages, I learn so much. So please introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you learned something. I love just like sharing things that I learned too. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I guess the formal introduction is I'm Bridget Cisco. I'm the co-founder of a company called Visibility on Purpose. We help business owners who are typically, I always say, have the spiritual backbone. Like they have that devotional practice somewhere within them. So when we talk about meditation, in our programs, it's not super weird. So we help business owners land top tier media without having to hire a publicist. And they really are at this place where they want audience growth. They want to expand their reach. They've probably been on social media for a while and are just like feeling that plateau and are just looking for, new ways to get visible. They might be writing books like with you, or they might be coming to us to learn more about how to pitch themselves to the media.
And I really like that you said that they've been doing social media probably for a while, because when I think of media, I think big press, I think a lot of pressure, I think a very overwhelming, especially for an introvert like me, to get on a stage can feel quite scary, even if it's in the written form, to go on national audiences. But I think a lot of us are already on bigger stages than we realize with social media. Like my follower list is like 2,500. That's potentially 2,500 contact points. Of course, not everybody sees it, but that's a huge following already. So when people come to you, are they managing some of those nerves of fear of being successful in the space of media?
I feel like it comes up at many stages in business, whether you're new or whether you've been, doing this for a while. It's like if you're used to going live on Instagram, then maybe that doesn't feel like a big deal anymore. But the idea of being on a podcast is like, overwhelming. Or the idea of being on a stage, scary. Or even if you are a speaker, you might still get those nerves. Like I think it's very, very natural. But for a lot of people, like social media has provided such a beautiful platform and entry point to create a brand with pretty much no gatekeeper. And the people that we're working with these days, they've typically been using social media for a while to just like build up that base level of their platform. They probably made sales through connecting with people on their social platforms. They might have, at least 2,500 people in their little network or on their email list or on their social pages. And they're just at this place where they're saying, okay, I'm making money in my business. Things are going decently well. Like I have a proven methodology. I know what I'm talking about. Like I have a business. And then the business owner goes, okay, so what's next? Like, how do I really grow this brand? And where I always look, and this has been my own experience, like my entire business anyway, how can I lean on and connect with other people's audiences as a brand growth strategy? And social media is typically like us to our followers, typically people who are already like in our sphere. So we always have to be asking ourselves, okay, well, how do we generate new leads if we're going to be talking really business? But how do we just get in front of, new people and get new eyes in our business? So we specifically focus on podcasts or just media exposure as a sustainable long-term growth strategy for your brand.
Mm-hmm. And it is really the way of the future, is leveraging other people's audiences. And I know affiliate marketing is very, very popular right now too. And this is basically a branch of affiliate marketing. You might not set up those long-term, 10% commission fees and all that stuff with those that you're connecting with in the media. You certainly can do that. And in fact, Bridget, do you talk about that in your programs of how to long-term leverage the media connections that you've established?
Mm-hmm. We don't go super deep into it into this program. We also have a mastermind that's our hive that talks a little bit more in depth about those media relations. But just like an example of this, Lydia is my co-founder and she's been a publicist for almost a decade. She's worked for like James Bay, X Ambassadors, like just a lot of big name brands. Every Man Jack, it's a deodorant I love, and has done a lot of good stuff, with these brands. And she's like, Bridget, the way I have gotten my clients in such big publications, because she also has has an agency. She's like, the way I've gotten them in all these publications is by keeping good relations with those in the media. And we interviewed a writer the other day, and the writer was saying that like she has this amazing ability to organize the pitches, aka like the emails that she's getting to her inbox and organizing them. She's like, I might not get back to you right away, but if months down the line I'm writing a piece on, running for women and their hormones, and you pitched me on this idea, she's like, I'll go back to it. So again, just like relationship building is at the core of everything. We do really stress that being human and having a pitch that feels human and not an AI generated like robotic pitch, it really does matter. So yes, yes, yes.
I think something that I have learned through my media exposure, I do a lot of radio shows and podcasts and even some written media. You'd think I'd do more given the fact that I'm an author and a publisher. You'd think I'd be in the written media more, but I love speaking. I get on a stage and that's where I light up, right? It's the emotion that comes through. But something that I've started doing, especially since we get published together, is those hosts that I've connected really well with, I send them a copy of my book as a thank you for having me as a guest. It's the vibe, right? It depends on the vibe. Sometimes I send them my sci-fi book. Sometimes I send them get published, thinking of, what are they going to enjoy the most? But it is that human connection of like, they've interviewed sometimes hundreds of people, and you send them something personal. That's incredible. Like, that is going to cement your interview, your offer in their mind. If I had a tip for anybody out there looking to foster long-term relationships, is do something that nobody else is doing.
I mean, that's genius. And like, touch on podcast hosts for a moment. They're such, and like affiliate marketing. I love affiliate marketing. It's how I grew my publishing company pretty easily in 2 years. Podcast hosts are some of the best people to build strategic partnerships with, because it's likely that you guys have a similar audience. It's likely that you guys had just like a good conversation and got to know each other, especially if you're not answering questions like a robot, and you were just human and vulnerable, but also like stayed on track and on topic. Those are really good people to build strategic partnerships with, because they likely don't offer the same thing that you do, but they have a similar audience.
Mm-hmm. And they're different than traditional media. And I've noticed this a lot with podcasts, particularly. The people I'm talking to are people, and they're building their own brand, and they're unique. Whereas like going to like BBC or CBC or any of those big news outlets, it's different. I'm not going to go up to them and ask their host for their home address. That's weird. Don't do that. But for the podcast hosts, where, I just did a podcast, Save Our Sisters, and it was all about sharing women's stories, and she was so personal and connected, and it was like, okay, I want to foster this relationship. How am I going to do that? So if you can find something, even giving them a freebie that you think is going to add value to their life, goes a really long way. Okay, that's my tidbit. That's my drop of knowledge into this bucket. So let's talk about Visibility on Purpose. Let's talk about your actual program that is launching, is about to launch.
Yeah, we actually already have 5 people who have signed up and paid. So we have 10 more spots, which is super, super exciting. This is the third. I have a business partner, Lydia. This is the third time we are bringing people together for this program, and I'm really grateful. Obviously, I'm super, super biased about it, but obviously we need to believe in our work. So inside the program, that's what we're going through. We're teaching you how to position your brand in a way that stands out. We're coming up with creative ways and ideas that what you can bring to the media or podcast host is interesting, timely, relevant, newsworthy, because all of that matters. We're teaching you how to write an evergreen pitch, which is something you can always, copy and paste and send to these media contacts. We're teaching you how to do the research to find the media contacts, because that's where most people get tripped up. It's like, okay, I see I want to be on, Mind Body Green, but how on earth do I make that first step? Like, where do I even go? Who do I contact? What are they called? Like, what are the people called that I contact? Mm-hmm. So we're going through that process with you. And essentially, we're teaching you how to be your own publicist. And Lydia and I were talking this morning about how all big businesses have a branch of their company that is for publicity and PR. So most big businesses are doing this. Like, that's how those big businesses take up all that real estate on Google. It's because they have a team of people who are talking about their brand. And this is why this is a long-term growth strategy. So if you're at this place in your business where you're like, yeah, I'd like to, take up all that real estate with cool features and podcasts or in different articles and magazines, but you don't know how, because you've probably been in like the social media bubble, as many of us have. And we're just helping you get to that next stage of your business and your visibility.
It really is the next stepping stone for people that are looking to grow. And I know you have talked on your platforms a lot about who it's not for, but can you just explain like what you've said who it's for? And some people, what I don't want to happen is people to say that's not for me because I'm scared, but who is it truly not for?
Okay, being scared and being nervous, we welcome that. That is okay. That is also why, I invest in community support or mentorship, because I want to be amongst people who are also going through that same like tunnel, or that's climbing up that ladder, like all together. So don't worry if you're nervous or you're scared. That's also very, very, very natural. Don't worry about that. That's where some media training comes in, knowing how to speak about your work, practicing before you speak, answering questions about your business. doing that before you get on an interview, of course. But who this is for, yes, you can be nervous, all that's good. So who it's really for, you do need to be at a place in your business where you are having steady income and consistency with the ground level things, meaning like you have a website, you have a social presence, you know what your offers are. You could easily get, people could easily go to your website and pay you, because the reason that matters is if you're on a podcast, you're going to be sending traffic to your hub, to your brand, and to your business. People should have a way of getting to know you and joining your program or learning more about you or buying your book. So these things are important to know and have in place. Also, you likely haven't done any PR or media exposure. Maybe you've done like one podcast, but it was like your best friend's mom or whoever it was. Like, that's how we all start.
Oh, Shirley. Yeah, she's lovely.
A great convo with Shirley. So,
Yeah.
like, maybe you've done some of those podcasts, but you just want to start to go outside of your own network. And that is where a little bit of like that confidence and prowess and strategy comes in to figure out how to make those contacts and how to make what you say to those people feel enticing and stand out.
And I think partnering with the right person is so, so important. And you mentioned it at the very beginning that you incorporate a lot of spirituality, a lot of breath work, a lot of meditation. And if that is what you as a business needs to stay grounded, to be able to move through those roadblocks of imposter syndrome and all those fun voices that are telling you can't do this, you're not confident enough. Bridget's program, I've been in her programs. That was part of Get Published, and we did the breath work, we did the moments of gratitude, and it's incredible what it can do for your motivation to keep going when it gets hard, because you have this foundation to build off of, and it's not a foundation built on, I don't know how to say this elegantly, it's not a foundation built on success, it's a foundation built on repetition and support for yourself. Does that make sense? Like, it's not just like, oh, I've been really successful for 6 months, so when I do slip, my entire confidence shakes. It's like, no, I have been practicing showing up every day, doing my mindset work. I have been, putting myself into this business, even when it's hard. And Bridget really brings that through, those moments of gratitude when the moments can get tough. And I was so grateful for that during Get Published, because it was a process, right? Okay, let's back to Visibility on Purpose. I got sidetracked again.
No, I actually think what you said is really important. I actually want to touch on what you just said.
Yeah.
This is like really big part of it. I only teach those things because those are the things that help me navigate all those moments of imposter syndrome, of who the heck am I to go talk in front of 600 kids? Like, all of that. I needed something beyond just myself. And something Lydia and I do really believe is that it's important to have some sort of like brand persona outside of yourself. Even if your name is the business name, it's really easy to get those things morphed into each other. And that's when like the unworthiness, or when something's going wrong in your business, it's your problem. Like, it's a business, it's an entity outside of yourself, it's a brand, it's a book, whatever it is, to have that separation and then have the foundational practices that just keep you going in the moments of, oh shit, or like whatever happens, because we're business owners, things happen all the time, to just have a little bit of separation for like your mental health as well.
Yeah. That's huge, because we pour so much of ourselves into our brands that we don't separate sometimes. When our brand slips, we feel like we're slipping. And it's really important to remember that that is not the case, that we are separate from our business. Our business exists because of us and because of our tenacity and our values and all of that, but it has to breathe separate from us.
Ooh, that's a beautiful way of saying it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Visibility on Purpose. It is launching. You have 10 spaces left. I'm going to put the link in the comments here. Actually, maybe I can grab it right now. For registration for Visibility on Purpose. When do doors close, Bridget?
Yeah, they close August 7th. And what I would encourage people to do is just send me a message, because we are very like specific. I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. You're investing money in your business to do this, and I just want to make sure you're at a place where this is going to support you the most, you're going to get the most out of it, like you have the time for it, all of that. Love that, Larissa. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's
That's not
Larissa's.
a sexy link in any way, shape, or form, but it's going to get you there.
It'll get you there. It will get you there. Yeah, so that's perfect. So I'd encourage someone to take a look at the link, see what we're about, and then send me a personal message. I'm at Bridget Eileen Cisco on LinkedIn or on Facebook. So let's just have a conversation, see what's going on in your world.
Yeah, and she's tagged on Facebook in this video. I'll make sure she's tagged in LinkedIn as well, and you can connect that way. At least merge your circles together because, like I said, her content is amazing. Even if you're at that spot where the programs are not for you yet and you're still in the growth, don't stop thinking about media. Don't stop letting that be your goalpost that you're shooting towards. And that is the only sports analogy I will ever use in a live interview. That's it. That's as good as it gets. So, Bridget, anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation, and I love your reminder for everyone. Like, just keep going. You got this.
Just keep going. You got this. That's right. But breathe separate. When your business slips a little bit, just you step back, take a breath, come in with new energy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Wrote That. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our show so you don't miss any of our upcoming guests. And if this has led you to some inspiration to want to get started on your own authorship journey, whether you just have an idea or you have a manuscript that you're ready to publish, reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net, and we will match you up with our team of experts to make the journey simple, easy, and smooth.